Well, it's Thursday. This is part 4 of this week's episode, and we hope that you're enjoying the new Student of the Gun format for 2015. We know that we enjoy bringing it to you. Jared's over there on the other side of the glass case of emotion. He's got his, what is that? Is that a Christmas present you're wearing?
Oh, my Archer shirt, yeah. It's Danger Zone.
Danger Zone. You got your Archer t-shirt on. Well, we teased you guys with this a little bit ago. Well, yesterday, day before, we've been kind of teasing you that we're going to have a special guest this week. Well, the stars have aligned, and our special guest is currently on the line waiting for us to introduce her. She is a veteran of the United States Army. She is a huntress. She is a mom. She is a pro shooter. And you guys should know her if you are gun people. And if you don't, well, listen up. It's Julie Golub, or Galoob. Julie, tell me whether I'm pronouncing your last name correctly.
It's Golub.
Golub, okay. Because I've heard it pronounced 2 different ways. And so
Only 2. I've heard it pronounced more than that.
Well, at least you didn't have to change your monograms when you got married.
This is true. Yes, I only had to drop the ski and add a B.
Well, all right. So we're in Biloxi, and it's a chilly 45 degrees this morning. What's it like where you're at?
It's very cold here too. We have wind chills below 0 here in Kansas City, so it's pretty chilly for us too. 45 sounds pretty nice right now.
Yeah, one of my buddies was talking about, he was going out to film and it was 30 degrees, and I said, man, I know it's like 65 here. And he said, shut up. That is actually the one big benefit of being in the South. You know, when I used to live in Ohio and I did a lot of shooting and gun testing and what have you, there were times in the winter that you couldn't even get to the range because the roads were snowed over. And the worst thing I have to worry about here is a little bit of cold rain.
You know what happens when it snows over the roads here? They dump an equivalent amount of sand over the snow, so it's twice as bad.
They're not real big on snow removal down here.
Yeah.
They go out, if it starts to snow, they go out and they sacrifice goats and calves and put them on rocks and hope that the sun god will come back out. But that's not what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about is we want to talk about moms and guns and women and guns. And I thought, I could offer my own opinion, but my opinion doesn't really matter in that regard. And I think most of the audience knows that there was a terrible tragedy at a Walmart last week where a concealed carrier, a woman, was negligently shot by her child because the child was able to get a hold of her loaded gun. And so the big question on everybody's minds is, well, the knee-jerk reaction on the left is, see, this is why no one should have guns but the state. And responsible, intelligent people understand that just is not the answer. But I wanted to get you on, and I wanted to get your thoughts about being a woman, a mom, and also being a gun carrier. And how do you go about your day being armed and prepared, but also because you got little kids. How do you deal with that?
Sure. First of all, what a horrible tragedy. It's definitely a very sad thing, and my thoughts and prayers are with that family involved. I think that the key, this serves really as a wake-up call, a very tragic one, in that for women especially, a lot of times we tend to go with purse carry because it's easy and it's fairly consistent among all of the options out there for women. And it's also one of the most difficult and least secure, let me say, of all of the forms that women tend to choose, because obviously they may lose control over that purse and the gun may end up somewhere it shouldn't. So as a mom, this is a tough kind of thing, because women in general, we face all of these fashion challenges and fit challenges, and guys, you have it a little bit easier. When you go and buy a shirt or a jacket at the store, it tends to have a boxier fit, but women come in all shapes and sizes, and it makes it a really tough challenge. So amongst all of that, you have to consider what the purpose is. I mean, you obviously chosen to carry a firearm to protect yourself and your family. Now you have to make sure that you secure it at all times, whether you keep that purse on you at all times or you look for alternative options that are a little bit more, safer and more reliable for you to be able to control that firearm.
Yeah, the men dress for comfort, women dress for fashion. And I've had women tell me, but you don't understand, I can't. With what I wear, I can't carry a gun. And, how do you, and I'm sure you've probably heard that when we're like, well, you just don't understand. My skinny jeans or whatever it is, I can't. It's not possible. So what do you say to a woman who tells you that they, quote, can't do it?
Well, first of all, I'm going to tackle the dude side of things. First of all, never, ever take the route like, oh, it's easy, all you have to do is this. When you're talking to women about concealed carry options, because she's going to tune you out, because you have no idea how challenging it is. You don't know how difficult it is just to buy a regular pair of jeans. You go in the fitting room with 6 of them, not even thinking about how it's going to work with your carry gun, just wanting them to fit properly, and you could walk out empty-handed. It's that difficult because our body styles are so different. And
you mean
the fact that
have you gone in and spent 2 hours in a store shopping for clothes and left with nothing?
Yes.
Because my wife does that. She'll go in and I'm like, you spent 2 hours in the store and you didn't buy anything? I don't understand.
Men don't understand that.
Well, it comes down to the fact that, again, men's clothing, especially their upper body clothing, whether it's a fleece, a sweatshirt, a baggy shirt, a polo, whatever, is shaped like a box. And so you can have a little bit extra in the midriff area or not. It doesn't really matter because it's not going to cling to you unless you're going for the super stylish stuff, which I don't know about you guys, maybe.
Those kind of guys don't carry
guns
guns
the fitted
anyway.
T-shirts and dress shirts, that sort of thing. But generally speaking, it's pretty loose fitting. For a woman, I mean, gosh, we can go back hundreds, even thousands of years. Fashion has established women's in socioeconomic values as well. So how a woman dresses not only gives off a perception of who she is and how much money she has or what her status is, but is also a factor of confidence. And if you know anything about women, if you're married or dated or anything, you know that when a woman feels beautiful and confident, she's a completely different person. And so when we go into a store and we start shopping for something, we want to have that feeling that we look good or feel good or it's comfortable. Now, I'm generalizing. There are certainly women out there who don't care, but and that's fine too. They're very lucky. But the rest of the women out there that do care, it is a big challenge to come out of a store with something that you feel good in that fits well, and then now you want to add to that, oh my gosh, I've got to conceal a pretty big gun in comparison to a guy. It's tough.
So do you know of any companies that make specific concealed carry clothing for women that are stylish and also allow you to carry a gun?
I do not. The clothing aspect is very difficult. And specifically in the firearms industry and the shooting, hunting, outdoor industries in general, we have a tendency to one size fits all or most. For even women's specific gear, we tend to pinkify it a lot of times. Oh, we'll make it pink, they will come.
Yeah.
and that's all fine and dandy, but when you're looking at clothing, they don't want to touch it. Even some of the bigger companies out there that have done specific clothing on bottoms, they offer a small, medium, and large, and extra large. I mean, that's yoga pants stuff, guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I've got something that I have to put a belt on or belt loops or something, small, medium, and large just doesn't.
Well, now don't knock the yoga pants. Jared is a big fan.
I love yoga pants.
Whoever
designed those is a genius.
Jared likes yoga pants. No, what you're saying is spot on. From my experience, 20 plus years ago when I met my wife and I was trying to get her to carry, and so what I would do is I'd get these catalogs from holster companies and they'd have 2 or 3 gun purses. And I thought, oh, well, hey, look at that, honey. And she would say to me, that's ugly. There's no way I would carry that. And I thought, but they made a purse for you. It's a purse. I mean, who cares whether, and she's like, there's no way I would carry that. And, when it comes to the purse carry, we had a conversation with Matt Craighead of Crossbreed Holsters, about 6 months ago?
Yeah, when we were up there.
Yeah, at Bianchi Cup. And he said that's where, as an industry, we've gone upside down, is the holster makers and holster companies will try and design these special purses thinking that what they're going to do is hit that fashion mark and that women are going to buy them. And even if they buy them that season, I'm using the word season, which is, I know, Metro. But even if they buy them that season, the next year, they're not interested in it. And so, are you familiar with what do they call it? They call it the purse?
The Purse Defender, I believe.
The Purse Defender. Are you familiar with that, Julie?
I'm not particularly familiar with that specific product, but is it something that is it an actual purse or is it an insert in a purse?
Well, what it is that it's if you know anything about Crossbreed holsters, in addition to their holsters, they also make what they call the Ojai. They don't call it a scabbard, do they? They call it a pocket, a gun pocket.
Yeah, pocket.
And it's got Velcro on the back, and they've got all these different mounting systems that you can attach a gun to. And with the Purse Defender, what they essentially did is they made a molded hard polymer plate with Velcro on one side that you can slip into a purse, and they have two different sizes. And so it doesn't matter what color or design or whose initials are on the purse. A woman can put it in any one, and because it's a molded holster, then it keeps the gun from bouncing around, lipsticks getting in the trigger guard, that kind of stuff. It keeps it secure in one place, and it doesn't move in the purse.
Matt said when we were talking to him, he said that the way he designed this product is he went purse shopping. Basically, he went to the store and he was using purses. He was like doing the little over the shoulder
mock-up, and he was putting them
in purses and stuff. And
Matt's a very, very manly man, and he was
purse shopping.
He took his wife. Where's the YouTube video on that?
Yeah,
I want
to
see that.
He said his wife she couldn't stand it. She said, "I'm just going to meet you. I'm waiting in the car."
He's like, "Honey, you want to go purse shopping?" She's like, "I don't know who you are."
It sounds like a great concept. The only issue is, it brings up this compromise thing. We're taking carry off the body now. Mm-hmm. Now we're not employing any sort of security locks. A lot of these concealed carry purses out there have little. Now they're not great. As in, you could probably just cut through the purse to get to the gun if you wanted to, but you're able to lock your firearm up. And make sure that little kids don't get it, that sort of thing. It all becomes a thing of compromise, and when you do compromise one thing for another, then something bad can happen. And I think that if you do go that route, if you decide as a woman purse carry is just the way you're going to do it, and that's what you want, then you obviously have to think about training with it. You have to think about having it on your body or touching your body at all times. There's no putting your purse over the back of the chair at the restaurant.
And walking away,
you keep it between your feet. Yeah. You have to be aware of that firearm at all times.
And that is a mindset issue right there.
And definitely.
We get that way as gun owners. We get real comfortable with our guns. And I think, people would tell me when they started carrying a gun that they say, well, I always felt like it was there. I was always aware of it. And, I knew it was there. I felt self-conscious. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, what I want you to get is I want you to get to the point where if you walk out of the house without a gun on you, then you feel uncomfortable. Then you feel self-conscious. Then you feel like you're wrong and you need to fix yourself. So it should be attached to you. And, people say, well, I have kids in the house. And so what I do is I lock a gun in a safe upstairs in my bedroom. Julie, did you see that the security cam video? It was like a nanny cam where the woman was at home in the middle of the day and the guy came in and assaulted her and basically brutalized her while her little kid watched.
No. Oh, my gosh, no.
Yeah, we had that We talked about that on the radio.
I think that was in Atlanta.
About a year ago.
It?
But it was the middle of the day, and what do people think? People always think, oh, bad things only happen at night or in bars or in alleys or whatever. But here's a woman at home in the middle of the day, a small child, and gun is locked in the safe upstairs in the bedroom. Well, it might as well be on the moon. And people say, well, what should I do? And I'm like, well, if you want to secure your gun, attach it to your body.
Right.
That way you know where it is all the time. It's under control because you're controlling it. Anytime it's not attached to you, you don't really have control of it. Exactly.
No, I agree. And even, with the purse situation, I don't wear my purse when I'm cooking dinner, but if you get used to the concept and you can find a mode of carrying a firearm that's comfortable and can work with your clothing, then that's obviously the best choice.
Now, how about Julie herself? If someone were to say, hey, Julie, what do you do to make it work? How do you make it work for you? I mean, obviously, you don't use a super jumbo match gun as your daily carry, and I know that you have to pimp the S&W. But do you carry a shield? Do you have a shield?
I do. I carry a shield. Before the shield, I carried a little snubby revolver because it was comfortable. Even though I'm not primarily a revolver shooter, it was the most comfortable carry gun that I could wear for a long time. But when the shield came out, it offered lightweight 9mm, and I shoot the M&P so much in competition. The translation has just been really good for me to have the confidence of being able to shoot a match with an M&P and then carry an M&P that's so similar is a very good thing.
So do you, if you're casual, do you wear, a strong side hip holster if you're working casual, or how do you do it?
I have a really hard time with my body style and body type to be able to carry on my body strong side hips. So I prefer appendix, and of course there are downsides to appendix carry. But one thing that I'm a big proponent of is consistency. So a lot of times we'll see a lot of great products out there for women that allow them to carry concealed in a variety of different outfits. But you run into the problem of, oh, where's my gun today? Is it on my ankle? Is it on my thigh? Is it on my bra? Is it, it's not consistent. So for me, the easiest way for me to carry consistently and have a kid on the hip or whatever has been appendix. Okay. And so I will either change up my belt and holster option to be able to wear the gun in appendix, or if I'm wearing something very casual like yoga pants, I'll even wear underwear so that it's always in the same place all the time, but I still have it with me. Yeah,
that's something that was way back when I was in the academy, that they talked about having to frisk yourself to find your gun. They're like, stop moving it around your body every other day. Put it in the same place so that if it's a crisis, because when you actually need it, you need it now. You don't need it once you figure out where it is.
Right. And the inconsistency of training with some, a holster position in a different part of your body all the time is tough. I mean, a lot of people don't get out there and shoot their carry guns that often, or train with them, or even dry fire with them. So now you're adding a whole bunch of different elements into the mix on how you're going to get that gun out quickly. Just trying it a few times at home before you strap it on, that doesn't really count.
No. So, well, we really appreciate you being on, Julie, and getting a woman's perspective. I think what we're doing right now, Jared, is we're spoiling our audience.
Yeah, she just gave advice that we would not be able to give because I'm not a woman, and you're not. I assume that you're not a woman.
I know I'm not a woman, but we we we'll get letters. We get the emails or the messages, and people say, well, what should I do in this regard, and what should I do in that regard? And I'd say, well, if it comes from a woman, we actually just got an email from someone who lives in a wheelchair, and they said, what's the best way for me to defend myself, and so forth.
Yeah.
And you feel, I feel like I'm not really qualified. Now, fortunately, we have Jared and I have an acquaintance who is an Iraqi veteran who lost both his legs, and he was able to answer that question for us. because he's coming from that mindset, that perspective. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy, busy life. I know you got all kinds of pre-shot show stuff going on.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you guys for inviting me and to have me on.
And thank you for, if the fans of the show should recognize Julie, the TV show, because she is what? What are you, Julie?
What am I? What am I?
You're a student of the gun.
Well, yes, I know that. But,
she's like, I'm many
I've been
things.
many other things too.
You probably. I know
yes,
you probably
I am
don't
a
watch.
student of the gun.
Yeah, you probably don't watch TV, but we've been using your little "I'm Julie" and I'm a student of the gun, captain of Team Smith and Wesson, and I am a student of the gun. Well, Julie, thank you again very much for taking the time out of your busy day to chat with us, and we hope that this won't be the first and only time that we're able to do this. We hope we can tap you for future gun-related, chick-related stuff, if that be okay. All right. Well, thanks, Julie.
Thank you,
Well,
Julie.
thank you guys.
I'll see you in a
All right,
couple
take care.
weeks.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. We actually had a question. A dude emailed me, Jared at Student of the Gun. That's JARRAD at Student of the Gun. If you have any specific questions, either post it there, send it to me in an email, or post it in the forums. That's forums.studentofthegun.com. And Travis Dillon wants to know, what is the proper shooting technique for a person that wears bifocals to use in self-defense situation? And he says the background is his mom wears bifocals, and to focus on the front side of a handgun, she has to lean back and tilt her head up so that she is looking out of the bottom of her glasses. It seems like it takes her forever to get on target. Should she use a laser, a big dot sights, or point shoot, blah, blah, blah?
Yes.
Point shoot? You wanted to point shoot?
Yes to all of those. No, actually, that's a good point. A lot of people that have vision issues, that really is. It's the conundrum that we run into as shooters that age. When I was 19, 20 years old, and I was shooting an M16A2 rifle, I could get down behind that rifle and I could focus on that blue steel, that Parkerized steel front sight post like nobody's business. I mean, I could have a perfectly clear front sight post and do what I needed to do. Now, if I try and do that, I'm like, why does that thing keep slipping away? Where's it going? As your eye, it's a natural part of the age progression for your eyes to change. When we do our low light shooting, one of the things that we talk to our students about or remind them that, a 40-year-old man as opposed to like an 18-year-old needs 4 times more light to see properly in the dark than an 18-year-old does. So how do we get around that as shooters? Well, actually, the point shooting thing, now point shooting is, we really get off the tracks. I mean, we jump off the rails because when you say the words point shooting, what happens is you get these old black and white photos of FBI agents in the 30s doing the crouch where they put their left hand over their heart. And you guys know what that was from, right? The left hand over the heart? Yeah, that was to slow the bullet down.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, so in case like the bad guy made a center shot, yeah, and then it would hit your hand and it would slow the bullet down before it entered your heart. Yep. So, but what I'll tell you is this: number one, big dot sights are good because they reflect a lot of ambient light. They're easy to see, whether it's the dark or the light or whatever, any light, fastest sights in any light. A laser is a good thing because it allows you to basically put the red dot on the thing that you want to shoot and shoot that thing. But regardless of whether you have dots or lasers or ramps or whatever it is you've got on your gun, red dot sights. I haven't tried red dots with bifocals, Jared. That might be something to try. A red dot sight on a pistol with a bifocals.
Well, you want to, after you're finished with this, tell them the story about the chick with the holographic sight that you got.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Anyway, so regardless of what's on the gun, or regardless of what is attached to it, whether it's a tritium sight, an excess sight, whatever, lasers, the sights don't work the gun. The sights don't fire the gun. The sights don't shoot the gun. The person shoots the gun. And years ago, I was talking to my good friend Walter Roush, and he was talking about the difference between sights, front sight focus, and trigger press, because that's our mantra. As firearms instructors, your mantra is always front sight focus, trigger press, front sight focus, trigger press, front sight focus, trigger press. And the question becomes well, which one of those, if we had to give importance to them, which one is more important? And the truth of the matter is, it's trigger press. Yes, it is. And well, why is that? Now, I ran into this as a firearms instructor with the young Navy kids, and I was out there teaching these little troops. And every once in a while, you'd get one that was just like all over the place, and you're trying to analyze why they're putting shotgun patterns on their target with a 9mm handgun, and you say, okay, we teach them front sight focus, trigger press, grip stance, all that good jazz. And so you'd ask them, you're like, are you focusing on your front sight? Yes. I'm like, all right. And then, well, not a lot, but every once in a while you get a kid who they would focus on their front sight. They'd look at the front sight, they'd see it, and then they'd start to press the trigger, and so they just stop looking at the sight. They just forget the sight and press the trigger. So what they would essentially do is they would look at the front sight, they'd see it, then they would look away from it at the target and jump on the trigger. And their bullets were going all over the place. We're like, here's the deal, dude. You got to do both of those things at the same time. Oh, the files are inside of the computer. Yeah, they're inside of the computer. But if you guys, if you were late readers of Guns and Sandwiches magazine, about 20, 30 years ago, there were several articles that were done about where they taped over, and this is an old firearms instructor trick too, Jared. Have you ever heard the tape over the sights trick? No, he's making the face. He's
never heard of that.
What they would essentially do is they would take masking tape.
Oh, you mean on the glasses?
No, not the glasses.
On the
actual gun.
No, I've never seen that before.
They would take masking tape and they would tape over the rear sight so that it filled in that gap area and you couldn't see the front sight. And so what they had to do was the shooter would have to just look down the gun barrel and press the trigger. Now, you say that isn't how you should do it. No, it may not be how you should do it, but here's the deal. What they found was that when they did that the shooters actually had to focus on a smooth, deliberate trigger press. They had to. They had no choice because they removed, one of the two of the mantra, the front sight focus trigger press. Well, they couldn't focus on the front sight. So what they had to do is they had to focus on a very smooth, deliberate, solid trigger press. And they found that they could put rounds reliably on target in, pretty tight groups. Not Olympic grade, but in pretty tight groups by doing that. And then they take the tape off and they let them shoot, and they're like, wow, I'm doing really well. Yeah, because you learn to focus on your trigger press. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you want to get good with a handgun, you need to master the trigger. The whole point of the front sight is to give you an indication as to where your muzzle is pointed at that moment in time. Okay, that is your go code. My friend Dave Biggers, who we had on the radio a couple of weeks ago, says that he has XS sights on a 9mm on a Glock, and he also has a Crimson Trace laser grip. And people are like, why do you have both? Shouldn't you just have one or the other? And he said, well, no, either one. He said, whichever I see first on the target, whether I see the red dot on the target or whether the big white dot of the XS sights is superimposed on the target, either one, whichever one my eye picks up first, that is my go code. Now I know it's good to press the trigger because my gun is aligned on the target. And that's what I want you to be thinking. I want you to be thinking, okay, what is my go code? Is my go code a laser dot? Is it a red dot? Is it a big dot? What is it? And when I do that, I have to have that trigger manipulation mastered. And so what I would do, if I had somebody with bifocals, and they were having a hard time, this is what I would do. I would take them out to the range, and I would attempt the tape over the rear sight thing and make them focus on their trigger press. Make them focus on it. And they'll have to because they won't have anything else to focus on. And then remove the tape and let them punch out, and you're like, wow. You guys want me to give you a lanyap? All right, I'll give you a lanyap.
You got to save some for the instructor development courses.
Oh, okay. Well,
I know you have plenty, though.
Do you want me to not give them a lanyap?
Yeah, give them a lanyap.
Okay. Not everybody's listening to this anyway. But, okay. When we would do the night fire qualification, there was 3 stages. You had a flashlight stage. You had an ambient light stage where you just shot at the target using whatever was the available light, street lights or whatever. You had the flashlight stage where you had to hold a flashlight, okay. And then you had what they called the assisted illumination stage, where basically we put vehicles behind the shooters and illuminated the targets with the vehicles. And what the shooters would say is they're like, that I can't see my sights. Because on military pistols on an M9, you don't get tritium sights, you don't get luminous sights, you don't get anything. You get basic sights. And this is what I would tell them, like, look, you can see the silhouette of the target, can't you? Yes, I can. I said, can you see the silhouette of the slide of your gun when you punch it out? And they'd punch it out, and they're like, okay, yeah. I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put the silhouette of the slide into the center of the target and press the trigger properly, correctly, smoothly, directly to the rear. And if you've got a good trigger press, you'll hit the target. And everybody who took my advice, who would take the advice, would qualify, and they wouldn't have any problem. So that is my advice to you. Whatever it is that you can see, whether it's a big dot, whether it's a laser, do that. But regardless, you need to be able to master that trigger press. And the way you master the trigger press is through training, practice, and then more practice. All right, we got one more story for you, and this is kind of I'm not even going to tell you the source for it. We're going to put it in the show notes, but it's from one of the communist news rags. And I wasn't aware of this TV show. Apparently there's a TV show out there called 19 Kids and Counting. And I don't know if they're Mormons or Catholics or people that or Amish, people that like to have kids.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
I had never heard of the show before now. And I'm sure that's how a lot of people in the firearms industry had never heard of the show until now.
I mean, it's on some channel. I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. But the reason I noticed it was because there was a story, and there was, when you look at your internet, when you look at your computer, you get these little sidebar stories, and they have pictures and what have you. And there's a picture of a kid smiling, holding a shotgun. And I thought, I'm a gun guy, so that obviously caught my eye. And it says, controversy over gun picture. And I was like, oh, sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. What now? So I clicked on it. Young Jedediah Dugar causes controversy with gun picture. And you're like, what did he do? Was he did he have his hat turned sideways? And he had a money clip? Did he have folded money hanging out of his mouth? And he had a 40 and he was pointing a gun sideways at the camera? Because that would, to me, seem like a controversial gun picture. Jared, have we seen that here recently? So I'm thinking, what is the deal? So here it turns out, it says, they might be some of the most moral people in America, but that doesn't mean the Dugars can't cause some controversy. Oh, and they even put, this is how sloppy and crappy American journalism has become. The opening sentence says, they might be some of the most moral people in America, but that doesn't mean the Dugars can't cause some controversy. And they put an exclamation point at the end of it. Jared, you went to public school. So should an exclamation point be at the end of that sentence? No.
No.
When is the only time to use an exclamation point in written words?
When you're going to be yelling.
When it appears as though the person would be shouting or yelling, or for great emphasis. And I really don't believe that this is a place. But that goes back into the death of the editor. The 19 kids and counting family created quite the stir after they posted a photo of 16-year-old Jedediah Dugar holding a shotgun on their Facebook page. Fans of the show were quick to give their opinions regarding the controversial pic.
16-year-old with a pump-action shotgun.
Yeah, it looks like a Remington or something like that. But it says the controversial pic, P-I-C-K. When you shorten the word picture to pic,
I
it's
think
P-I-C.
The controversial pick, maybe the pick.
The choice?
The choice.
Creating a polarized debate on the social media platform. Many slammed the Dugars for allowing their young son to own and operate the 12-gauge shotgun. Hold on. Stop. What's the age in pretty much every state in America, in the United States? At what age do you get a driver's license, Jared?
16.
What's more dangerous?
You can operate a car in the presence of an adult when you're 15, I believe, in most states.
So what's more dangerous, putting a 16-year-old behind the butt of a shotgun or the 16-year-old behind the wheel of a 2,000-pound killing machine?
Well, that doesn't matter.
Oh, that doesn't fit with our narrative, our
Yeah, no,
anti-gun narrative?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's funny that this story, it put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 negative quotes, and then there's 2 at the bottom that are positive quotes about what their people wrote.
All right, you want to hear some? You want to share some of the stupid things that people wrote?
Yeah, let's pick apart this first one.
Oh, Facebook user Linda Lawless wrote, "Worst present ever. I don't care how much gun safety they teach their kids. All it takes is one time of not locking it up properly for one of the dozens of curious young children in the house to get a hold of it and have an accident."
So if you take the curiosity away from the child.
When did we teach you about guns and what they do? How old are you?
I don't even remember how old I was. Probably 6 or 7 or lower. 5? 4? 3.
Basically
2, 1.
Yeah, 2,
blast
1,
off.
blast off. No. All right. When do you teach your children that don't play with the stove because fire is hot and it'll burn you? When do you teach your children don't put keys in the wall socket because it'll biz you?
After I biz myself.
When do you teach your kids don't play with the knives because they're sharp and they'll cut you? When do you teach them that? When I don't know.
Depends on the child.
3.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the age 3 to 4 is when they're taught don't drink the stuff under the sink. Don't play with the stove. It's hot. It'll burn you. That kind of stuff. Do you have stoves in your house? Well, yeah. And for these people, I was Walton and Johnson had a thing on yesterday. The top 10 injuries, top 10 accidental injury causes in the United States. And guess what? Firearms were not in, and they pulled it from CDC, I think, Center for Disease Control. And firearms are not even listed in there. You've got falls, accidents, poisoning, burns, drowning, all that stuff. Do you have water in your house? How reckless is it when you know that hundreds of children every year drown and you still have water in your house? Do you have heat? Do you have fire in your house? Do you have a stove? Do you know how many children die every year of burns, and yet you still have a stove in your house? How reckless are you? Hey, Jared, how many kids die every year from falls, and you still have gravity in your house? What's wrong with you? How reckless are you? What's some of the other genius stuff? Why take the chance? I don't understand why a Christian family. This one really hacks me off. Don't understand why a Christian family who values life would want to own devices that were specifically designed to destroy it. Wow.
I got a question.
Wow.
Did Jesus not say if you don't own a sword to get one?
Sell your cloak and buy one?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he did.
That sword was, I'm assuming, was designed to take a life.
No, a sword was just for sporting purposes. For sporting purposes only.
Yeah, gladiators use it for sport.
Well,
going back to the first one, she says that blah 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 curious kids. If you take the curiosity away from the kid, if you teach them about what it is and how it works and what not to do and what to do, the whole reason kids get into stuff is because they're curious about it.
Right.
If you take the time to teach them,
remove the mystery from the object.
And you know what? I don't have any kids, so how come I know that?
Because you were raised properly? Here's the deal, folks. Well, it's easier to just tell people to lock up their guns or to not have guns in their houses. That's way easier than training your children properly, than teaching your children, than teaching them to be responsible humans. That requires effort. You actually have to spend time with your kids. And to many modern Americans, spending the quality time with your children to teach them right from wrong. Right? You mean there's a right and a wrong? It's not just your feelings?
You know what I view a gun safe as?
What?
Theft deterrent. If somebody breaks into the house, they cannot get your guns.
Yeah. You know what I view as theft deterrent?
Shooting people.
The gun that I'm carrying right now. But anyway, this is just a more instance of silliness, and folks, guns are some of the and we posted this on our Facebook, the official Student of the Gun Facebook page yesterday, and guns are some of the best gifts that you can give a kid. When I was young, we were poor and we couldn't afford guns, we couldn't. But when I got married, and hey, Jared, have you ever gotten a gun for Christmas?
Yeah, I think every Christmas.
Well, not every Christmas, but my daughter got a gun for Christmas. Jared got a gun for Christmas. Zach got a gun this year pre-Christmas. I gave him a gun before Christmas. It was an early Christmas gift. But those are some of the greatest guns. Teach your kids to be responsible humans. Teach your kids to be mature, responsible human beings. That is the greatest gift that you could possibly give to a child. Now, we're getting towards the end of this week's show, or not this week's show, this week's show and today's show. Before we do that, we want to make sure that we take the time to acknowledge all of our sponsors, our good friends at Velocity Triggers. Check them out at velocitytriggers.com. And Excess Sights, we talked about them, fastest sights in any light. Colt at colt.com, Brownells. If you have a gun, Brownells has something for you. There's something in the Brownells catalog for you. If you own a gun, I guarantee it. So go to brownells.com and check them out. Also, SWAT Fuel. This is the last one we're going to talk about because I'm going to give Jared the opportunity to talk a little bit more about the SWAT Fuel Challenge. And did our winner, our Get Fit in 2015 winner, did he acknowledge it?
Yeah, we did that in part 3, so it just went out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which was yesterday. And I believe that.
Did he send you an email or a message?
Yeah, I think it was like 6 o'clock this morning, so he must
so
have listened to it like immediately as soon as it came out.
Well, good for him. He should be. That's what you should be doing. You should be waiting with bated breath for the next episode to come out. So congratulations to Ryan Hepner. Is Ryan right?
Hepfer, yeah.
Hepfer. And, Jared, give them a real quick what's up with the SWAT Fuel Challenge, the year's worth of SWAT Fuel, how they can participate, and why they should. And a lot of people are.
SWAT Fuel Challenge. Go to SWAT Fuel Challenge on Facebook. I created an event for that. And actually, I've had a couple questions recently. And you guys can – I didn't limit it. I said this as a joke. I said that you had to post it in the SWAT Fuel Challenge thing as a joke. I was just kidding. But you can use any social media. Just hashtag it, SWAT Fuel Challenge.
Well, the Instagram seems to stay up the longest.
Yeah, Instagram works the longest. But that's why when you hashtag SWAT Fuel Challenge, you also tag at Student of the Gun, and that way I can make sure that it's viewable. But if you go to the SWAT Fuel Challenge on Facebook, you don't even have to be a member of Facebook to look at the page. It'll give you all the rules and what you need to do. And I'm going to update it because the way it's written, it looks like you have to put 2 pictures at like each week you have to put 2 pictures in there. As long as by February 1st you have at least 8 pictures of what you're doing with the hashtag SWAT Challenge and at Student of the Gun tag, then you're good to go. You don't have to put up each week. You don't have to be involved from week 1. I just want 8 pictures, and I'll give you a little hint that if they're all in the same clothing, I know that you did it all on the same day. So,
Same clothing, same pose, same background.
Yeah.
You just took 8 pictures and put them up.
I'm a little smarter than that. So.
What? Oh, come on. You think you're so smart.
But anyway, so what you need to do is go to SWAT Fuel Challenge event on Facebook. You type in facebook.com, and then the little search bar up there at the top, you type in SWAT Fuel Challenge, and it'll come up. It gives you all the rules and what you need to do. And yes, you have to be to win this. You have to be subscribed to the bonus hour, because we need, if you get a year's supply of SWAT fuel, we want you to be a dedicated student of the gun, a dedicated person, so you'll actually use it, because that's a lot of money coming out of Dan's pocket.
Well, this is for people that are serious, not people that are browsing. But here's what we know. We know that if you're actually going to take the time, if you're going to take photos, if you're going to participate in the SWAT Fuel Challenge, that you're a serious person. And we're glad that you're out there. And folks, we're coming right up to the hard stop on this episode. It is Thursday, but here's what we're going to do for the grad program bonus hour members. We're going to get really super deep into the weeds about the terrorist attack that just occurred in Paris, France. I've got someone who I'm trying to get someone lined up who is pretty much an expert in dealing with Johnny Jihad. And if I can get him on the line, we're going to do a talk, but we're going to deal with that in depth in addition to all the other stuff we do in the bonus hour. Grad program members, you want to be a grad program member, go to studentofthegun.com, go to studentofthegunradio.com, and sign up. You get the Tactical Tuner newsletter, you get all the good stuff, and the bonus hour. But till now, Jared, go ahead and get ready to cue the music, because I'm going to shut my mouth. Folks, thank you for being with us for the first full week of 2015. We're glad that you're out there. We're glad to provide this material to you, and we're just going to keep on doing it until they shut us down, until they ban us in France. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, you are a beginner once, but you should indeed be, what? A student for life.